Us middle blocker Ashley Neff, right side hitter Elsie Walsh, and head coach Chris Poole. Florida State advances to the Elite Eight for the second time in Minneapolis. We'll start off with a statement from the head coach and then open it up for questions from student athletes. Once we're done with student athletes, we'll dismiss them and finish up with the head coach, okay? So when you're asking questions of the student athletes, please direct them to one or the other so they know who's going to answer, and then make sure your cell phones are all on silent or off right now for me, would you? So we don't have any interruptions during the news conference. Coach, why don't you start us off with an opening statement, and what is it about this gym and playing in Minneapolis that seems to work for you guys?
Well, we're going to check with our administration and see if they'll let us just have all of our home games. Easy commuter flight. No, I'm really proud of the girls. They've worked hard all season. Part of people talk about our motivation. We were within one point of being able to knock off Florida last year in Gainesville, something that Purdue did a week later, and it was that after that match that I think there was a motivation to give back and try to do even better this year. Try to show that team was capable of playing at a very high level. And the girls have fought through much adversity through the last couple of years and even the last few weeks, and they just continue to impress me, and certainly, the good Lord's looking after us. He has definitely blessed this team and helped us to be able to be successful, and just, we did what we needed to do tonight against a very, very good Purdue team, and we knew we'd have to play hard, but we were able to find it inside to do that.
Thanks, Coach. Questions for our student athletes?
Ashley, can you just talk about what this means just as a program? To do this? You heard about the stories 2 years ago. To actually be a part of this has got to feel pretty special.
Yeah, it feels really good. When I was being recruited by Florida State when this happened, so it was really cool to see it and then to be able to actually experience it. It's probably one of the best feelings I've ever felt. So it's really exciting, and I can't wait for tomorrow.
Can you kind of talk about just what was going on in the match? What were you all doing to kind of keep Purdue off balance?
We're just trying to play relaxed and play consistent, which I think we did a pretty good job at.
Lisa, you've played Purdue before. Nobody else on your team has. Was that beneficial that you knew a little bit about them, that you could kind of help your teammates out and had seen them before?
Yeah, playing Purdue was like a big help because I knew like how their outside was. Like she was really big for them when we played them last year, and we actually beat them from Wisconsin last year, so it was just really good advantage just by having played them before.
Liz, can you talk about just set number one? I think you're down. I think it's 21-13, 20 or 13. What clicked after that? Because you all seem like a different team after that point.
I just actually realizing that it was real, I guess, and just having to make sure we just keep fighting till the end and that we could play with them. So I guess that was important.
Actually, they have two really good DSs, and since the libero got hurt, they kind of struggled with the third. Did you feel that was an area you could kind of pick on and get some points?
I think they did great at digging. Anything you hit, it almost seemed like they got it every time. So it's just you had to try to remember to not get frustrated with it because they did really good at digging.
I think we knew they would be a good defensive team, and I think it was a matter of we needed to try to be able to match them. We really worked this week on putting our defensive players in a position that we felt would best be able to combat what they wanted to do offensively. And we knew we wasn't going to completely shut down Turner, but really what we wanted to try to do was try to at least contain her a little bit and work hard enough to try to be successful against some of the others. And we turned loose our serve a little bit. We got off a little bit in game 3. Thank goodness our offense was really rolling in game 3. We missed a few serves there, but we really felt like we needed to try to take them out of system, put some pressure on them. And so that way it caused Turner to have to hit a lot of balls, and she did. She hit a lot during that game, and you're going to wear down if you keep hitting that many.
Ashley, can you talk about just how big blocking was for you all tonight? It's been the key all season. How big was it kind of getting you guys over that hump?
Since Turner was such a big hitter for them, they go to her a lot, so it was pretty important for us to be able to set the block so that the defense could play around the block and be able to be ready to dig.
Ashley, could you talk about Saria's play? Because I don't know how many times he went to that play in the middle, but it seemed to work every single time.
Yeah, that's Saria's thing. When she gets hot on it, it's just amazing because no one can stop her. So she did really good tonight.
Yeah, we were fortunate both of our middles did very well. Our middles did well, and our blocking was on. And I felt like that was a big key coming in. And that, along with our serving, trying to pull them out of system, even though we were not great offensively overall, we still were able to do some things to still hurt them at times. And the big thing was, I think after that first game, we really realized that we could play with. I think anytime you get to this level, there's that question, can you play against that top 5 program? And I think it was important for them to come out and just relax and be able to play, and they were able to do that after we got started.
Questions for our student athletes?
Either Ashley or Elise, how much of the 4 players that got this far 2 years ago, how much talking did they do to you guys about what that experience was like, and how much did that kind of come to fruition?
They just let us know how great it felt. Just to know, to go out there, and they told us about how cool it was to play in this environment, how big it was, and how it's completely different than most of the venues you play in the ACC, and just how great it felt to be able to win and go into the next round.
Did they give you any kind of hint how cold it was going to be?
Yeah, we came prepared. We have our big jackets, so it's a little bit of a shock for especially some of the girls from South Florida, but I think we're handling it pretty well.
At least, looking back now, last weekend, how beneficial was it to be challenged coming into this? I know Purdue had struggled one set against Louisville, but for the most part, they were dominant in their 2 wins, and you guys really had to overcome some adversity to get here.
Yeah, it's really good that we were challenged. I mean, a lot of people doubted us in this game versus Purdue. So it's good to see that we just proved everyone wrong and show that we can play at this level.
Any further questions for our student athletes? Bill?
You guys are very good at road team, and I love to hear on the road. How big a challenge will it be if you have to face the good tomorrow night?
I think they're going to have a big crowd there. I think in the past we've actually played really well when we do have a big crowd there. Just being able to go out and just do the best we can.
I think it certainly is, they do a great job here. The whole staff does. They got a great team. And certainly having a big crowd is going to help. That's something that we'll have to be able to overcome. It certainly is easier to play on a neutral court like we did Purdue as opposed to either place. But at the same time, these girls, every time that there's been doubts put in front of them, they tried to overcome that. And if that's what happens, and so the wins is, we're going to come back and certainly try to give it our best. And both of these teams are great this left, and we know we're going to have to work hard no matter what.
More questions for our student athletes? Okay, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dismissed. A couple more questions for the coach.
Coach, Purdue struggled against taller teams. You get 6'4", 6'5" girls, they really have a hard time hitting around them, hitting over them. Did you feel that was an area where you had a big advantage tonight?
It's so hard to tell on video because you see the players' sizes and things like that. We didn't really know what we were going to face when we went out there. We knew how good they were, but I think it did help us to have a little bit of size on them, and certainly that's one of, from a coaching standpoint, recruiting standpoint, we try to go after some physical players, and really I've been doing that since I was back at Arkansas. I feel like if you're going to play at a top 10 level or compete at a top 10 level, you've got to get some bosses out there that can put up a big block. And we were able to do that with the ones that we had, and certainly they went through the Big Ten, without a doubt the best conference in the country this year, and so we knew that they would be prepared. We knew what they did against Florida last year, and so we knew that they were a very good team. And I don't know that we really showed anything different that way than what they've been facing against some of the big teams that they played. But at the same time, I think our girls just reached down and we just found a way to win.
Beneficial was it that they were playing out of system a lot? You guys really forced them to have their back row setting balls, and their setter had a ton of digs, but she wasn't there to set the ball to her hitters.
Right. One of the things that we talked about, we're typically, we depend more on our block than we do our serve, or even our transition more on our serve. But coming in, and we're a little banged up right now, that really I turned them loose a little bit. I told them we're going to have to serve a little more aggressively, where normally we maybe don't make this. Last weekend against Cincinnati, we didn't miss a single serve the whole match. So that's typical of us, and to try to use the other part of our game. But tonight, we turned them loose a little bit, and we said we're going to have to create some things, because we're going to have to try to step up and do some other things that maybe normally we don't do.